All right, we're back here with Brad and the iWealth podcast. We're talking about mutual funds and ETFs. What are the difference? Are they the same? I don't know. Explain this to me.
Well, they've been around for a little while now. I mean, mutual funds started in 1924,
Yeah.
so they've been around a long, long time. And, you know, a mutual fund is a basket of stocks or bonds or a combination. So you have a manager that will pick 50 stocks, let's say, and put it in and call it a mutual fund. And it might be in technology companies, or it might be in healthcare companies, or whatever. That's a mutual fund. An exchange-traded fund is similar.
ETF.
An ETF is similar but different, and it means that it's tracking some type of an exchange.
Okay.
So an exchange would be like the S&P 500. You can invest in the S&P 500. You can. It's an index.
Yep.
But you can invest in an exchange-traded fund that mirrors the index.
Sure.
So you'll have people that'll put together a basket of ETFs, and that'll kind of look like a mutual fund, but it's a bunch of different exchange-traded funds inside of it. They caught on several years ago because they're cheap.
Okay.
Because you're not paying a team of managers to put together the exchange-traded fund. It's just mirroring that.
Yep.
Now there's kind of a hybrid that's going on. So we started out with the S&P 500 ETF, exchange-traded fund, or a mutual fund that invests in large-cap U.S. stocks like the S&P 500. So that would be the difference. Now you have money management firms out there that are taking pieces of ETFs and putting them together in one pie. So now you have the S&P 500, and you might have 30% in the NASDAQ, and you might have the Barclays Egg at 20%. And so they're kind of putting together all these ETFs, packaging it up. Still less expensive than a mutual fund, but more expensive than just a normal ETF, because now you're paying for their expertise to kind of move stuff around. So the bottom line when it comes to investing, one's not better than the other. Just depends on the timing. There's times where people that pick stocks outperform indexes.
Okay.
And vice versa. Main thing is to make sure that you're disciplined, you're in the right indexes, the ETFs, or the right mutual funds for your age, for your risk, for what you're planning on doing, and then just invest for that long term or whatever you're doing. So
how does an individual, let's say that you have a handful of these things, right? And you put it over like a career and you're kind of doing it for yourself. And the problem with this is that you maybe have like 20 of the exact same thing and don't really know it. So how do you dig through that piece of it?
It's tough. You really have to have tools, and we have tools in our office that we subscribe and pay for, so it's tough. But we call it overlap of funds.
Yeah.
You'll sit down and say, "Hey, here's my statement. Am I diversified?" And I'll say, "Well,
and I have like 400 different names on
yeah,
it.
I mean,
all in the same.
realistically, there's 15 names on your statement, and I'll say, "Do you feel you're diversified?" Well, yeah, I have 15 different names, and then we'll run it through our filter.
Yeah.
And it'll come back, and 9 of them are buying the same large cap stocks. And it's like, no, you're just collecting names on a statement. So you really need to either subscribe to a tool or figure that out. But just because you have 10 names on a statement versus 3 names on a statement does not mean you're more diversified. I've seen it for 25 plus years. It just doesn't. So yeah, you got to figure that piece out. And the other sin that I see is people get their year-end statement and they'll say, oh, this one was up 10% and everything else was only up 5. I'm going to move my money to this one. So they chase the winners, which become losers. Yeah. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You have to make sure you're diversified. That's a whole nother kind of conversation. But yeah, so ETFs, exchange-traded funds, mutual funds started in 1924. ETFs came after. It's just an index. That's simplistic, and then it gets more complicated from there. So, I mean, call your advisor.
Then we kind of get down to the granular level where you're actually investing in individual companies.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So call your advisor, do the process, and then figure out if you're all invested in the exact same things.
Yeah, how many names are you collecting,
How many names are you collecting?
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Anything else we should know about this?
No, I think that helps.
All right. We'll see you back here next time.
All right. Thanks, Matt.